Hello, friends. I welcome you to another podcast episode with me. In this today's episode, I would like to share with you a mindfulness technique that you could practice anywhere you are. Maybe you are at home, or you go to office for work, or you're virtually connected. Wherever you are, you can practice it anywhere. But before we practice mindfulness and use this technique, I also would like to share a bit of information about mindfulness. I'm aware and I'm also sure that you may be a little not new to this term or the concept of mindfulness, because this has been in the past 1 decade an emerging topic, especially in the personal growth industry. And there has been several meditations, even a coaching niche built on it. But I also do get some of my clients reaching out to me, asking me, what exactly is this? Because for some, it is still a concept of meditation. So, friends, I would just like to not really confuse you any further, nor add any boring technical details, but instead explain you in the most simplest way so that you understand what exactly mindfulness is. Mindfulness, friends, is just being present in the moment. It's a it is a concept, a technique, a process which focus on the current, the now, the presence. And the reason this has been taking a lot of popularity and a lot of people are even practicing it is because of the many benefits that it brings, especially to your mental health. With the stress and uncertainties that loom over us, all of us, in fact, and the ongoing pandemic, which has literally brought everyone across the globe into a different new normal. We all go through stress in our lives. We all have issues, and if you also observe, there are times when we often, if given a chance, if I just ask you to sit for a minute, the moment you are with yourself, you will be either thinking about your past or about your future. Sometimes we do carry a lot from our past, even when the memories are good. We tend to go back to them again and again and hoping that we wish to see the same time again. And for some, the memories are not that pleasant or good, but we keep going back to them thinking, what if I've done this way? Why it happened with me? So in a way, we ruminate and we go back to our past. If not past, then we dwell. Not if we don't dwell in our past, then we keep thinking about a future, an uncertain future, thinking what can we anticipate. And this is something, these kind of behaviors which trigger stress has been the major reason why a study was conducted. Lot of scientific evidences have come up where behavioral experiments were conducted to understand why it is first of all so difficult to stay present in the moment. And when we don't stay here, where exactly are we? So the most common thing that was found was we are either in our past or in our future. So mindfulness, friends, is basically where it helps you unstuck from the future that has not yet arrived, and also unstuck from the past that has already gone by, and stay present in the now. Now, you must be wondering, this is a very good concept. It promotes well being, it promotes health, it releases such chemicals while you are present in the now that it overall, in the long term, really foster a very healthy mental state. But where do we start? That's a question most of us have. How one can be mindful? What is it about being a mindful eater or taking a mindful walk, or being mindful at work, or being mindful at prayers? So, to practice this technique, I thought let me come up with something that you can find it easy and you can also do it whenever you feel you are a little stressed. You can also do it when you feel that you need to learn to practice mindfulness, because friends, mindfulness does not come naturally to us. It has to be learned. It is an habit that we need to cultivate, and it comes with practice. You will see that our mind goes keep on going back to past and future, plus it also keep drifting with distractions, but it is never in the now. So it is a practice. Now I'll today teach you how, using your five senses, you can start being mindful using these basic steps. So, what you could do here is, wherever you are, at work, at your office, even at your desktop, whenever you find that you can grab a 5 minute break for yourself, take this time alone and away from others and be with yourself. You don't need all the time that you can be surrounded by people, but it will be your me time. And then it can be even outside, or it can be within your own house and any corner of your house, wherever you want to practice it. Because this is a technique where you are, as a beginner, practicing how to be more mindful. The more you practice, the more you become more and more aware and good at it, the more easier it becomes you to then bring mindfulness in everything that you do, whether it's your prayer, whether it's the way you eat your food, or whether you go for a walk. So let's learn a very basic thing here. You can begin by taking yourself away from where you are to a place where most likely you are just being with yourself. You don't need to be interacting with anyone, just be yourself. Now, tune into your five senses wherever you are. Here, you are being mindful by using your senses. So, the first sense you will use here is your sight, which is your eyes. And you pay attention to your surroundings. Observe them very, very closely. Notice every minute detail that you could lay your eyes on. If you're outside, you can have a lot to observe. While if you're inside in one of the room, even then observe everything on the wall, on the floor, on the bed, anything hanging, whatever. Just keep observing and ensure that you spend a minute here observing, using the sight as your sense, and grab as many minute details as you could. Having spent a minute here, move on to the next sense, which is your hearing, that are your ears. Use this to focus and observe what is it that you can listen at the moment. If you're outside, you may have several voices coming in from the external environment, which is fine. Just pay attention to all that you could hear. If you're inside, there may not be as many, but then even silence is something that you can just simply pay attention to. After spending few seconds or a minute here again, now move on to the third sense, which is your skin, where you get your entire feelings or sensations of your body. So if you're outside, a breeze, a warmth of the sun on some part of your body, or the temperature, whether it's very high, very cold, very warm, or just okay. Otherwise, it can also be that you are enjoying the weather, which is windy. If you're inside, just observe what sensations do you feel and in which part of the body. It may be also absolutely fine to not feel any sensations at all, which is also okay and fine. After spending some seconds here, then move on to your sense of smell. Observe using your nose. What is it that you can smell right now at the moment? Can there be 3 or 5 things that you could smell in the room? And it can be anything, right from the varnish of the sofa to the moisture that retains in the furniture, to outside, if you can smell something cooking at the far end, or anything that could be. Just spend some time and try to smell. Finally, use your sense of taste. What can you taste at the moment? Not necessarily that you're eating, but if in case you are indulged in eating, you can also use this particular sense with minute details, observing everything that goes into your mouth by the time you chew and swallow it, every every aroma taste on the tongue that you could observe and experience. Once you're done with all your senses, give yourself some space. As I also mentioned, may not be that you are eating most of the time while you're practicing mindfulness. So you could use this sense particularly while you're eating, and if you're not, then you can skip it for now. This way, friends, using your five senses, you could, in a way, start to practice mindfulness and reap the many benefits of it. Because what's happening here is we are training our mind to get into a state of flow, a state of mind which is so present in the now that it leaves out any scope of anxiety, stress, worry about being anxious about the future, or it also keeps you away from all the emotions that we feel while we try to recall the past, whether it was a past with a good experience or with a bad one. And this is exactly what mindfulness is. It comes with practice. You could use this technique and practice it wherever you could. You can give it a 3-minute, few seconds to begin with, and then you can do it for a longer period of time. This way, it helps you basically cultivate a habit of a distracted mind where we are going back to a state where our mind is filled with all the good chemicals in our neurocircuitry and is filled with a technique which is fostering a positive mental state of mind. This is also a technique which is very useful for those who ruminate a lot, and we usually advise our clients to practice this. This comes with practice. So learn to practice, and I'm sure you'll find it very useful and effective. There will be distractions, friends. It's not very easy to get it because we are not built this way. It's a conscious effort, but once you do, to your prayers, to your morning routines, to your evening routines, everything can get into this, but it begins with these basic steps. So try and practice it, and do let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my listener, and I'll talk to you soon.